Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. You could have chosen to spend your time anywhere. You rock with me today. Thank you. I never take that lightly. Before we get into it, let my beat drop. Yes, that's right. Welcome to Medicine Ball with your boy LS3 to be exact. And if you ain't in shape, at least your brain should be. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Medicine Ball Podcast, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack by exercising your mind. Now, exercising your mind means that you actively think about and deal with all situations by first seeking to do anything other than what you are normally programmed and or comfortable in doing. Now, if you're someone who struggles and wants to get better at thinking about things beforehand, as opposed to reacting in ways that require less effort, well, just like anything you want to get better at, it does require training, practice, and work. Now, I'm well aware that thinking about things beforehand as opposed to responding off instinct does require effort. And who doesn't prefer things that are easy? Well, the first step, my friends, can be very easy, and that's to begin to look at all things from an unbiased point of view, which in itself will increase your curiosity in life. Now, exercising your mind won't give you all the answers. You will, however, begin to look at things with more peace, understanding, and patience, while simultaneously equipping yourself with more tools and strategies to help you effectively deal with this thing called life. Now, before we go any further, I'm no doctor, no psychiatrist, no psychologist. I have, however, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder level 1 for 16 years. And to be honest, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person I wanted to be. And that, among other things, required me to look at my mental health responsibly. So whether or not you're diagnosed or know someone who's diagnosed or have symptoms or just want to know more about it, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're one of the many people who could just use some tips, tricks, and different ideas to help you get through day-to-day life. Pull up a seat, kick up your feet. This is your family, man. Welcome home, no judgment zone. This week's episode, a very special New Year's Eve episode. Episode 507, Secrets to Success. Let's go. Let's go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. Happy New Year's Eve, depending on when you're listening to this. Welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. Now, last week I was out. I know this season 5 has been all over the place, but last week I was out to give everybody an opportunity to spend Christmas with their family. The week before that, I believe that was the week that had the 12th in it, right? So it might have been the week that started on the 10th. I don't know. I was off that week because I took a trip to Colorado, Denver, Colorado, and then to my home away from home, Oregon, of course, and then Washington. And with me jumping so many time zones with that, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get off a good episode then. So I'm putting everything together and let's get into it. So real quick, like, subscribe, share, follow Medicine Ball LS3. That is my social media platform. www.medicineballls3.com is the website. Please follow, like, subscribe, share, email me, join the newsletter, communicate with me. I've been continuing to build these circles or these communities of people that can discuss, various mental health or wellness topics. And I've started so far just amongst my people that kind of hold me accountable, and I'm starting to branch out on that. Make sure you do that. The Wisdom app, man, I got about like 50 questions I got to answer on there. So continue to ask me questions and follow me there. I'll be doing more conversations there as well. Merchandise, I'm almost sold out of the season 1 merchandise. I have a few more shirts left. I think I got 2 hoodies left, and then season 2 is coming out. I've kind of been explaining that I'm gonna play around with the logo, location, kind of like the Fear of God or the Essentials. I'm not really I guess I am a fashion creator because I'm doing the merch, but I'm not putting so much into that. But I'm just, responding to what you guys are doing. Please go pick up the merch. Follow Mamba, that guy Mamba, on Instagram, and my YouTube channel, which I included the link in the show notes as well. I see my subscribers going up. Salute to y'all. I have come to the conclusion that I'm going to get a video editor, and let me just jump into what we're going to be doing this year. So this season so far, I've been talking about each episode self-development and just making yourself better. As we go into 2023, I believe I'm gonna do one more episode, kind of wrapping it up with the self-development, and then I'm going into guest. I know every year I try to get some guests on, and as I grow, network and things of those nature, I have people that I know personally, right, and people that I know through a business that I think is dope with what they have going on to do some some interviews with them to kind of cross share resources and followings, et cetera, including a couple of my accountability partners. I don't want to go in too much with that, but I'm looking before this season is over to have at least 5 guests. I'm gonna try to knock out as many as I can in January. That is tedious, but as you guys know, you know what I mean. We're gonna talk about this on the secret of success. Whatever you're doing, it's gonna come with hard work. All right. So I just wanted to let you guys know some of the things that's coming. YouTube will continue to be updated. I have some things in the background going on with companies who want to get me more visual. I have voiceover work coming. Guided meditations will be dropping. I know I've been talking about that. And as I'm working with this video editing thing, I kind of am trying to stick to what I know. So guided meditations is something I can just do with my voice. That will be coming. Music, for those of y'all who are interested in music production, I will start inserting beats. Um, Being a nerd, there was a beta version of FL Studio I was dealing with. The regular version is now out, and the motivation is really there for me. And I'm going to begin, putting them back in the podcast because that was a really good advertising tool for me as well. And last but not least, y'all support me, right? I got some major announcements coming, but as I continue to step into just this, and it's not even about me as a personality. My goal has always been to just like help people or help to heal people through conversation and give resources and ideas and let people look at things from an unbiased point of view. I'm at the point now where that joint takes bread, right? I'm a pretty resourceful guy when it comes to that, but I am at a point to where I do need to gather some type of monetary from the work and the effort that I'm putting in the medicine ball. So with that being said, there has been a subscription service that has been started in relation to, and it's like $1.99, right? But in relation to some of my earlier content, so like seasons 1, 2, and 3, I want to say for the most part, so definitely seasons 1 and 2 are not even available anymore unless you are part of the subscription service. Now, what I will do is if you join my newsletter or the Medicine Ball Gym, because we're gonna get into this mental. I see where things are going, and I'm glad I'm ahead of my time with the mental health. But we're gonna get more into this Medicine Ball Gym thing. I may do something to where the people who are, or you buy a piece of merchandise, I'll make those episodes available to you going forward. But I just want to be transparent with that. Like, yeah, I want to help people, but yo, I gotta survive as well. And you know, if you have talents, you do have to use your talents in a way to survive. God gives us certain talents and skills, and it's about using them, I believe, righteously in order to sustain. Right. So I just want to be transparent with that. If some of you guys are new and you're like, "Yo, we're season 1 and season 2," that's what's going on with it. I may also, on the flip side, and it won't really have any visuals with it, but I may release those earlier episodes onto YouTube, but it would just be the audio there. So maybe I might just throw a backdrop behind it and drop that audio and have some type of audio wave bouncing so you can hear it. But I will continue to develop that because without question, I have to move into YouTube. I have to move into, as far as me getting Medicine Ball out there, certain areas of social media and get comfortable with them. All right. So support me. All right, let's get into this week's episode. All right. Episode 507, Secrets to Success. So this season has been focused strictly on self-development and self-improvement. And I always like to be transparent with that because I do have a religious belief, right? A Christian belief. I believe in God. And I want to be careful when it comes into putting too much sufficiency into our abilities and what we're able to do by ourselves. So I always feel like I have to throw that disclaimer out there. The second thing I want to throw out there, as I talk to the people who will hold me accountable, and I hope that you all are catching that. Just because I do this podcast and I have understandings of certain characteristics and dealing with people and communication and whatnot, I still have people who can tell me something, right? Like my grandmother used to always say, "Can't nobody tell you nothing," right? A lot of us are like that, and that's not good or conducive to good growth, right? It's not going to grow good, healthy, strong, firm habits that's going to make us be righteous people. So we always have to have somebody to hold us accountable. And I think it's important that I also tell you, like, I go through failures. I go through a lot of downfalls. If you listen to the podcast, you witness them. I don't never want to cover it up and come off as if I'm somebody who has all the answers and who nothing goes wrong for, who has all this money. That's not the case, right? I use what I have failed at and the things that I have suffered through. And I'm just so hungry and willing to give people who I see going through similar things an alternate route. So when you hear my strategies and the things that I give you, you know what I mean? Number one, and I always say this, you got to have some belief in the Bible or some type of religious belief, or it's not going to make sense when I start talking about love and kindness and being good to people regardless of how they treat. It's not going to make sense. And I've spoken about this previously, that you got to have some type of belief and higher righteous belief outside of human, or these concepts and ideas aren't going to make sense. The second thing is the things that I offer are not in the resolution. They're not a definite answer. It's not even that. It's just an alternative to something you may have done previously. We often get stuck in habit loops, pattern loops, where we can't break away from something that we've continuously done. All I offer is another way. It will not be a cure all. And I say this in the intro, but I want to make that, clear. It won't be a cure all, right? So, with that being said, again, I do fail. You guys witness it. My website, for those who've been listening since like season one and looked at the website, to those who've even been listening long enough to see how long it's taken me to just get one video up on YouTube, to those who've been listening long enough to see how, like, I think when I started this joint, I was at like 1,800 followers. Now I'm at like 8,500 followers, right? I wanted a 10K goal that I didn't hit. And I want to be very, very transparent with that. And from a religious aspect, and I don't want to get too much into preaching on this, New Year's Eve, depending on when you're listening to it, but just like we hear, it's crazy because it's like we be oblivious to the obvious, but we hear these things in movies like, yo, it's the journey. It's not where you end up, it's the journey. But that's really the truth. And I explain this even with the music, like how just suffering and getting frustrated at the program led me to fix the tempo, and that unlocked a whole nother level. Like if I didn't go through what I went through with the music, I wouldn't know what I know about it. I wouldn't even be able to put this podcast out if I didn't go through all those years of just being resilient, right? So I think that that's very important. Now, going off of that, it's a new year. And I speak on this every year, but being that we talking about self-development, I really want to key into this New Year's resolution thing. Um, it's funny, and it's almost like a gag, because it's, yeah, everybody makes these resolutions, but the gag is how long before you fail, right? And I don't think enough people stop and realize, like, well, it'd be right in front of our face. Like, yo, why do I keep failing these resolutions? Because we're going about things in the same way and we're not changing anything other than the goal that we're writing down. We're just writing down a goal. You see what I'm saying? And even though it's not enough effort, I feel, that's put into understanding the goal and things of that nature, right? So, well, let's just get right into it. With all these New Year's resolutions going, I just wanted to talk about some strategies, and I've been talking about it all season, and things that we got to keep in mind. And I'm gonna give you some just some principles, some real basic things, three key things. They're real basic, nothing heavy, that can help you to be successful. And I'm gonna break them down a little bit step by step. All right. So let's talk about this New Year's resolution thing, right? So we always put plan into the outcome. And I mentioned this, and I don't know where I heard this before. Somebody said people are in love with the dream, they're in love with that outcome, but they're not in love with the work, which is most often why we don't reach that outcome. So, with that being said, let's get right into some of the things that we can do to help us be not more successful just at this New Year's resolution, but in the goals and the things that we have for ourselves. All right. Um, a lot of planning goes into being successful with goals and strategy. And now, side note, I'm giving you practical ways, three practical ways, but all throughout this episode, I'm gonna be throwing out things that you could go Google that successful people do, right? So you have to bear with me, but planning, right? There's not enough planning that goes into getting to our goals. And as a leader, I'm often speaking to people about baby steps, and I try to relate it to, Mario. Like, hey, yeah, you want to jump across this gap to get to that board, to get to the other platform. You got that in your mind, but you're not thinking about the jump and how you're going to get there. And the idea is we don't put enough thought into what goes into our failures. We often spend too much time licking our wounds, being mad at everybody else, and so forth and so on. And I'm going to put a bookmark on that, being mad at everybody else, because accountability comes into a lot of this. Right. And a lot of this is repeat information, but I'm going to keep saying it because it's just the foundation to getting more success. Right. So the first thing is you got to know yourself. Now, that's very loaded, very, very loaded, but you have to know of yourself. And I've given you an episode already with the SWOT on how you can start to get to know yourself. One thing that I know about myself, and I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, I'm saying this because it is tested proof, right? It's a fact that's been tested. I'm resilient. So a lot of times I get things done just off the simple fact that I'm not going to give up. Do I never give up? No, I know when to cut my losses, but if it's something that can be accomplished and it's just a tedious process that I'm going through for the moment, I know how to put it down and come back. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. That alone, if you have, well, I don't want to get into that alone because we've talked about this, but you have to know things about yourself. Let me show you, let me give you another example. I'm gonna use myself as an example with this one too. I leave a lot of stuff unfinished, which kind of goes into this whole thing as a producer, bro. I got like 80 beats that are in various stages of completion. Whether it be I need to EQ the beat, maybe whether it be I need to arrange the music to track it out, whether it be I need to change them to wave stems. They're in various forms, and that's just one example, right? My workouts. Often, man, I'll be in the middle of my workouts and I'll be doing something arm related and I could just not be feeling it and I'll convert it to an arm workout. So let me give you an example. If I go push ups, wall sits, pull ups, high knees, squats, and I'm like, boy, I'm not gonna feel it, then I'm gonna immediately go into like bicep curls, wide length push ups instead of doing the whole body. And I realize that I'm cheating myself, right? But I know certain things about myself. A lot of times, if I get something started, I know that the momentum of the process is going to be enough to carry me through. I know that I am a selfless, and this is another thing that's going to be key. It's going to be a bonus point. So I'm going to put a pause on that. But you have to know yourself, right? You, we have to face it, bro. We have strengths, but guess what? We have weaknesses. But guess what else we need to know? We need to know our values. We need to know our motivations. Just think about that. If you know your motivations, how much work could you get done if you just knew how to motivate yourself? That can help you to make better decisions, right? When you learn contentment, which we really, should probably talk more about, which I'll probably do on my the last piece of this. But I said you'll make decisions from a place of strength and compromise because you'll feel better about it. You'll be able to build stronger relationships. You will have ED, emotional disciplines. You will react to situations more effectively. These are just little things that go into knowing yourself that can help you to be more successful. Knowing yourself can help you live a more fulfilling and authentic life. If you know yourself, you'll know how to adjust your goals. I know some people who like 40, right? And I'm not joning, bro. I know some people right now who are 40 and got like 15 mixtapes out, but they keep going because their goal is to go platinum. Instead of maybe let me get 100,000 listens out of these 14 mixtapes. I'm not joning. It might be funny, but I'm just being real. It will help you to live a more fulfilling life, and that's what it's about. And that's what, side note, that's what some of my guided meditations are going to be about because I'm guilty of it, which is why I'm so big on it. Living in the moment and enjoying the moment. Sometimes we so busy looking at things that have yet to happen that may or may not even happen that we miss what's in front of us. All right. Number two. Let's go to number two. And I want to go back to what I was saying. I put the first bookmark on. I have four sisters. I have mm-hmm, 5 nieces, three grandnieces. I respect them, especially my sisters. They're women who have these various occupations of power and knowledge. I respect them. So when I look at dating and being a male and just things of the opposite sex, I'm a little bit more sensitive to it. For instance, the Tory Lane situation, right? I ain't gonna put too much out there, but through that discussion with one of my sisters, I found out she had been in a situation that she knew she couldn't tell me about at the time. Cause I would have been, boy, I ain't gonna speak on it, but it made me be more sensitive to like bump what even happened in that situation. This whole thing, if you if you're a real man, like you gotta understand, you just gotta be tender with women. I'm not saying give it to them easy, but you just gotta understand. You just gotta be more understanding of them. Like, cause even in that situation, one of my sisters was like ready to fight me, and it's like, what am I do? I'm gonna fight. And I said, okay, I left my own house. You feel me? Because I understand there's certain things as a man that I may not understand. Even with this whole Brittany Griner thing, right? Where everybody was just speaking on, and I know I'm going off. I'm getting back to what my number two is. But when everybody was, oh, they should have traded her for this dude. Da, 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 da. As a dude with these women in my family, only thing I could see is it's a bunch of men who is not cool with bringing a woman home over a man. That's weird to me. I'm keeping it real with y'all. Yeah, I get it. Yo, we should have traded for this war here. Like, yeah, bro, but like, and this is something we could talk about. I might save it for wisdom, but it's just like, bro, you a man, bro. It's a woman. Let her come home. Even with the Megan joint. Now, I will say this. I believe if you falsely accuse somebody of a crime and you play it all the way out, it's just my opinion. I think that you should get whatever they was going to get. That's just my opinion. But I also think as a man, when it comes to women, it's just certain man rules, bro. We need to hold our opinion sometimes. Like it's a whole bunch of stuff that my male friends say that I do agree with. But I just don't think you can say them, bro. Keep that in your head. Keep that to yourself. Right? So, all of this going back to I seen a young lady who made a post like it says something to the nature of I agree I've done some wrong things and acted out in ways that were inappropriate, but I still think that we still have to bring awareness to the fact that my baby father did things to me, right? Now, I want y'all to remember what I had just said about my concepts and like your belief in love and everything. I made a post that said if somebody does something to hurt your feelings, non physically, right? And that's a whole nother situation, but just non physically, that's not an excuse for us to behave poorly, and that's actually childish. Like an infant does that; they don't get their way, so they gonna throw something or throw a temper tantrum, right? And that's really an advanced level of thinking. We went back to the levels of thinking and all of that, but it's just like, bro, you got to be able to communicate without insulting. You got to be able to communicate without acting out, and that goes back to knowing yourself and knowing what situations to put you into. But I started thinking about this, and I often talk to people about it, and that goes into number two, keys to success or secrets to success. You have to be able to lead yourself. You have to be able to lead yourself. So let's just go back to that situation we were just talking about. Somebody said something to you, so your behavior is going to be a certain way, right? Emotional discipline, we talked about it. That's being able to, bars, being able to manage your emotion. So let's just pause and think about the kind of society we in right now. Everybody got an LLC and everybody will tell you they want to be a boss. Everybody will tell you that, right? When I started getting into medicine ball and started getting into like managing and coaching people, I realized that if I can't lead myself, how the hell can I expect to effectively lead others? Now, it is possible, but people who are in those situations are probably people who are constantly working to develop themselves as a leader and better themselves. They're not okay with where they are. So let me give you an example and just build on this like leading yourself thing, right? And we're not talking about you got to take your emotions out of this because from a spiritual aspect, we as humans, we are already like full of sin. We're not good patrons of deciding what's right and wrong. We already know that we're selfish, right? So we have to take our emotions out of it. And we talked about this earlier, because if you can't be honest with yourself, you can't grow. But when it comes to leading yourself, let me give you an example, right? Because it's human nature when you hurt to hurt the other person back. It's not human nature, and it's not easy when somebody may be verbally assaulting you to handle it maturely and be like, well, why are they doing this? Because and I talk to, when I date people and in other situations that get high, I tell them this, and they probably don't want to hear it. Timing is everything. I'm working on it. But like when you get upset, or when we get angry, or when we get annoyed, scientific things start happening. Our hearts start beating faster, our neurons start firing faster, and we're not able to slow it down. And we start speaking before we think, and we don't think about our long outcome. It's scientific. It's scientific. So it's very arrogant and unreasonable to think that you can have that going on and still be able to be kind and righteous, right? But let me give you an example, just something else I seen on social media. So just arbitrarily, I see people who I follow, and they say things like, yo, I just got out of Facebook jail, or yo, I just got shadow banned, and so forth and so on. And then I see this. Yo, I went and did my Reels play, and I got so many Reels, and I only got $1.63, right? So I go look at my Reels play, because I do be being nosy. Okay, I'm okay. Let me see. That's what they getting for that. Let me go see what I got. And I did less than they did, and my check is way higher. So, and this is part of self-development. You got to have a thirst. That's just a side, but I want to know more. Why does this person have more views and making less money, and I have less views and making way more money? Okay. Oh, you said you got shadow banned. Oh, you blocked. Let me go see what this is. Oh, you're talking about something inappropriate. All of my stuff is by design, fam. If you knew me 2, 3, 4 years ago, my old profiles is out there. I wasn't business minded. But I understood when I did this medicine ball joint, I'm gonna keep a clean sheet. I don't care how mad I get. I'm not gonna say nothing that's out of pocket under any of these profiles. Why? Because I understand that when you got these reels and these things that they have these high views, it's not just the number of views, because there's shot content out here. Inappropriate things is gonna get more numbers, right? But you get money because they put your content with somebody like Publix or Ingles. I don't know if Ingles exists. Kroger, whoever it is, somebody who's family friendly. And you might have this person who got 5,000 views, but they talking about mental health, trying to be kind to people. They talking about the right thing. But you got this person with 10 million views who's talking about, I don't even want to say it here because I don't want to mess it up, but something that's going to get you shadow banned or blocked. Well, we know we have to pay them for their content, so let's put them in this lower tier and pay them that, right? And this dude right here, he gonna continue to go up because he's talking about things that's accepted by the people who want money. I'm gonna go a step further with this leading yourself, because a lot of time leading yourself has to do with self-discipline and the ability to restrain yourself. Leading yourself isn't always about getting yourself to do something. Leading yourself is often about getting yourself to stop doing things, i.e., destructible behavior, toxic behavior, things that aren't going to be advantageous to you. You got to be able to put a break on that. You got to be able to say, yo, I know this Georgia game is coming up. I know I got this podcast that somebody want to hear. I want to watch every snap. Let me go and get up and do you feel what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and chill. Sometimes it's not mouthing off. You follow me? Like, you got to realize, like, even with people who say stuff, like, I try to talk to people who are just like, yo, we deserve this from the government because they did this to our people. And I'm just a logical dude. Let me tell you how I be looking at it. The people who most of us want money from are not the people in our cultures. Follow me. They're in a culture that society will tell you is against you. When I previously talked about this, when you get rich, you don't see color. You either rich or poor. But follow me. So now we want to say, F the creditors. Let's take the long way around. Oh, I'm going to jug this. Oh, they need to give me this for what they did. Let's just think about that. Like, we want loans from these people and land from these people who, it is what it is. They're in the advantageous situation. You could complain about it. It's almost like sometimes we think that we're going to bully people and down talk them into giving us something. Which in itself, that whole thing is broken, that whole system, because they are giving us stuff, which is why a lot of us is trapped. because we depending on the stuff that they've been giving to us. So we don't make the rules no more. That's a whole nother show though. But it's like, for instance, you take one of these hood attitudes up in the bank and try to get a loan for your LLC and let me know how that work out for you. Now, I'm a realistic person. If you got an 800 credit score and 5,000 down in cash, realistically, you probably wouldn't even need the bank, but you might be able to do that. But the chances are that attitude didn't get you in that position. You want to get broadcasted and put up first on social media? Go and chump them out and be like, yo, we need to do this. And it's not, and let me know how that works for you. Like, people don't listen to people who aren't rich or famous. Like, just ask yourself that much. And even I'm speaking for myself. That's why I got a healthy goal set for what I want to do with my podcast and my numbers, because I realize how society works. People don't want to listen to no regular person, bro. You got to have some type of notoriety somewhere, or ain't nobody trying to listen to you, even if you got a good point. Furthermore, nobody listens to the angry person. And if we can't lead ourselves with certain disciplines and knowing how to act and knowing when to hold them and fold them, I talked about this, we're going to get in a lot of situations that are just repetitive and get stuck in these habit loops. We have to be able to lead ourselves, because if not, other people will be able to lead us, whether it be able to get a reaction out of us. Oh yeah, if somebody says something to you and you behave out, act out an action versus some words, they got control. They're leading you. And I'm just going to keep it real. The world is full of leaders. Really, it's not full of leaders. It's full of followers. And there's not a lot of leaders. And I was just talking to my people about this. Like, yo, we need good examples. I do this not because I think I'm better than anybody. It's because I realize the world is messed up, bro. It's hurt. And if God give you an opportunity to shine your light, this scripture, right? No arrogance here. Then you got to do that, even if it's just for one person. But you have to know how to lead yourself. A lot of us are very ambitious and having companies and doing all of these great things. And we don't realize that the lack of ability to lead our emotions and lead ourselves is why we're stuck. It's not always the other person's fault. It sounds corny, but everybody do get that same 24, God willing. What are you doing? You have to be able to lead yourself to get time management, right? You got to be able to lead yourself to be better, to self-improve, right? Leading yourself is very, very important. And if you don't know how to do it, and some of y'all are parents, some of y'all us listening is parents, and I'm not down talking nobody, but just like, I just go to my work experience, right? Some of them folks, like, yeah, I got 5 kids, and I'm just like, bro, you come back from lunch every day late. I know you ain't getting on your kids. Your surveys be Fs. I hope you ain't getting on your kids. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I'm not joning. I'm not talking about it, but it's just like, it's real out here. We got people in leadership roles who aren't leaders because they don't know how to lead themselves and trying to lead other people. Lead yourself, man. You got to know how to lead yourself. All right, and the third and final secret to success, because they cranking up, and I stay in Atlanta on the east side, boy. These folks out here just, they crazy. If you know, you know. Be kind to yourself. I'm going to have to really expand on this a little bit before I end this year. Kind to yourself means being reasonable. If you're a person who doesn't feel like you could confess that you have weaknesses, you're not very kind to yourself. You're too hard on yourself. Even me, who knows I'm hyper hard on myself, I still give myself, like I always tell people I deal with, like, yo, I hate when people say always or never or every time or this will never happen again. Like, right? I'll be like, yo, you know, this is what happened. Oh, this will never happen again. I'll be like, yo, don't do that. Because we're not giving ourselves a chance to be human. We're not being kind to ourselves. Even when I deal with people at work and they set these goals, they be trying to go from like a 34% to a 55%. That's not kind to yourself because it's not reasonable. Me, when I first started this joint, was like, yo, I'm going to step into it. And it was only for a short time because I knew it was like, you got to put in the work. But 1 million followers, 1 million views, right? Whatever. I wasn't being kind to myself. realizing that we are going to make mistakes. And this is something that my spiritual growth had to deal with, bro. Like, I knew it wasn't possible, but it took me a long time religiously and spiritually to realize like perfection or seeking perfection is really a sin. And that in our weaknesses, that's where he is strong. So we need our weaknesses because it makes us dependent upon him. And that was one of my major hurdles that I had to get over, and I still have to fight it daily. But you have to be kind to yourself. Give yourself rest. If you lay down for a nap and that nap you wanted to do 15 minutes and your body gave you 2 hours, before you get all mad about the things you miss, realize like, bro, you probably needed that 2 hours rest. Be kind to yourself. When we're looking at other, and this is the biggest thing, don't look at other people without knowing their full background and do any type of judgment, right? Be kind to yourself, whatever you're trying to do. I was talking to somebody and they were like, yeah, man, all of these women have vendors and I need me some vendors. And if I just have vendors, I could do it, man. They ain't really doing nothing. I'm like, well, hold up. Time out. We could get you vendors. What you mean by vendors? You need somebody to, okay, you can do that. And then I asked them kind of like, okay, we got that. Now what? And they didn't even know the next step because they were so stuck up on everyone else had these resources that they didn't even stop to think about how they can obtain or if they already had them obtained. You got to be kind to yourself. A lot of the things that we perceive is our perceptions. The way that we view the world is what we choose to view it as. If we're angry at somebody for being themselves, if they showed you they was a slime ball, like, bro, like, it's slime. We run into slime balls. We can't always accurately characterize people's characteristics. We gonna make mistakes. And we have to forgive ourselves and move on. Because if you don't, it takes up a spot in your mental capacity, and we need that. We need that to operate efficiently. And I'm talking to myself here, fear and worry. One of my accountability people just told me, like, bro, you be expecting the worst out of situations. Like, it was on my vacation with my people. If you know, you know. And I'll just throw out something simple. It's a situation where one of the rooms I got, I was pretty sure I ordered 2 beds, but it wasn't 2 beds. And I'm like, man, now I'm gonna have to go down here and have to pay all this money and da-da-da-da-da. And she was like, yo, chill out. Like, just, you always expecting the worst. Go down there and ask her. I went down there and asked, and they're like, yeah, here you go. Switch it right on over to 2 beds. No fee. No da-da-da-da-da. You feel what I'm saying? And I had to realize, bro, I be being too hard on myself. Be kind to yourself, right? That will allow you to make mistakes. And when you allow yourself to make mistakes and see that, then you can get better. Like, yo, maybe you was a jerk, but guess what? It's okay. You had a bad day. You made a mistake. Just be aware of it. No mental laziness. That's the 3 things, man. The secrets to success. All of the things we've discussed this season thus far is pretty much, this should be pretty much a repetition, but you got to know yourself. Then you have to be able to lead yourself. Then you need to be kind to yourself, man. I say this all the time, man. Your mind is a place you're going to be a lot. You might as well make it a nice place. Yeah, sometimes you're going to hiccup. Sometimes you're not going to get the Medicine Ball episode out on time. Sometimes your website going to take a half a year to do. You're going to have to do multiple takes in front of the camera to get comfortable with it. You're going to have to edit it. You may have to go through multiple jobs. You may get let go. You may get put in a tight position, right? Man, but if you go through these things, you'll be able to start looking at even your failures in a beautiful way because you'll be like, yo, man, I'm hungry for the lesson. I ain't gonna lick my wounds so much that I don't see what's going on. You will begin to search and look for those things and live a more fulfilled life. Yo, this is the end of 2022. As we go into 2023, y'all, let's focus on when we making these resolutions, the strategy behind them. And then that way you can do more than just do a New Year's resolution. You will be able to obtain and reach your goals no matter what time of the year it is. You know what I mean? Y'all stay up. Do something to lessen somebody's suffering every day and learn something every day. Those 2 things. I'm gonna end it like that. I will see y'all next year. Reach out to me, subscribe, like, share. Mamba appreciates all the love. I love y'all. Stay up. Happy New Year. Yeah.